And we are back. And we just watched 1979's masterpiece, Sooner or Later.
It's not a masterpiece.
You're lying. This is a TV movie which premiered on NBC. This is from 1979. It's an hour and 36 minutes, and we busted out the old DVD to watch it. This comes to us from director Bruce Hart and writers Bruce and Carol Hart from their young adult novel, and stars Denise Miller as Jessie, a 13-year-old girl who falls in love with an alleged 17-year-old boy played by Rex Smith in his, I think, screen debut. According to IMDb, after getting a makeover at the mall, 13-year-old Jessie, Denise Miller, can pass for a much older girl. She catches the eye of aspiring singer/musician Michael Skye, Rex Smith, at a concert outside the mall. She later discovers he is her guitar teacher. She tells him she is 16 and he asks her out on a date. After several close calls, things get serious and Jessie has to tell Michael her true age. He is very angry at her for deceiving him. Heartbroken, Jessie thinks her chances with Michael are over. But are they? Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
they should have been.
I can't believe that you did not see this film.
I hated those after-school movies, and I hated anything with romance. And come on, I was a young boy. I wanted to see people shooting at each other and being thrown through windows, like
Terrible.
A-Team and things like that.
So I actually remember watching this as a young girl. So I must have been 6 going on 7. So I guess that's first grade. And just being completely captivated by this story as a young girl. And watching it now, I can say that it's kind of icky, but
It's not kind of icky. It's completely weird and disgusting.
but I still have a little bit of nostalgia for it. So I'm going to go around the table. I'm going to start with you, Olive G. What did you think of this film?
You're the age of Denise in this movie. How would you do the same thing that she did?
I can't believe you would even ask me that question.
That's the kind of question that mom or dad would probably ask you. I'm just trying to be like,
That is the stupidest goddamn question I've ever heard in my entire life.
yeah, I'm just trying to participate, okay?
What
No.
is the age gap too big?
It would have been better if she was 14, so that way they were only 3 years apart. So that way when she's like 19 or something, it would be reasonable, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's a 4-year difference. That's a big spread because
When you're a teenager, that's completely unacceptable.
right, because she's in junior high and he's in high school.
If
And 4
even,
years
he
is
like
a long.
dropped out.
Yeah, he didn't seem to be going to class or anything, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had a job. He was teaching guitar and he had a band, which I'm assuming they got paid for.
Okay,
They
and
probably didn't. They sucked. The songs they were playing in this movie were dog shit.
Were they really? Because I
They
felt
were
like
terrible.
You Take My Breath Away was a monster hit.
I don't understand why.
Ugh.
They had enough money to print T-shirts with his name on it.
Yeah,
Everybody was wearing matching T-shirts that said
The Sky
Mike-
Band.
The Sky Band.
right, exactly. He wasn't that bad. I mean, he filled up the parking lot at Gimbals.
Gimbals.
A place that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember Gimbals?
God, the majesty and prestige of the Gimbals parking lot. Isn't that where all the greats got their start?
Well, it was funny because they were dropping like New Jersey towns, and I
Yeah.
looked on the IMDb page, and this thing was filmed in Yonkers, New York.
Yeah, the Gimbals was supposed to be in Lodi.
Yeah, I was
They were
like,
driving around Englewood.
yes, I was like, I've been on the bus to Englewood. I don't recognize any of these streets. Olive G, if you were 17 and somebody said to you, I'm 16, would you date them?
Can I get a birth certificate with that?
Are you going to start IDing people and making sure that they're telling you truth? Do you believe in the power of makeup?
Not really.
No. You didn't
I
think
couldn't care less.
Did she look older after her makeover?
I mean, I don't know. Like when she first got her makeover, she looked kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But then after like whatever, she looked normal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she kind of looked older.
If you were dating somebody and then it came out that they lied to you about their age, but let's say that you were dating, I don't know, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what would you do?
Like How old would I be and how old would they be?
Well, let's say there's a 4-year difference there.
Which way, up or down?
You're older.
How much? Oh, like if they're like 20 and Olivia's 24, that doesn't really.
Well, no. I mean, like, what if you were 17 and then you met somebody that said they were 16 but was really 13? Would you break up with them?
This isn't gonna work out. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to like get a life.
Would you break up with them?
Hey, son.
Okay, I'm curious. I don't know.
That's so
See,
would you-
Olivia, this is exactly the
Would
kind of
you-
question that they would have asked.
Yeah. What about if the other way? What if you are 13 and you like somebody, but they were way older than you? Would you lie?
No.
No? Never?
Stop asking me stupid questions. Of course it's gonna be a no. I'm not dating anyone when I'm 13 years old. I'm way too young for that.
All right. I mean, I don't know if you're way too young for that, but
Yes, I am.
okay. Gee, can I come to you now?
Yeah.
How would you feel if you were dating someone and you realized that they lied to you
About their age or
About
about
their-
anything?
about their age? Let's start with their age.
And like if I was Rex Smith and my
Yeah, if you
partner
were
was-
17
and
and then they said to you, "Oh, I'm 16."
I wouldn't have started dating him in the first place.
Really? But what if you liked them? What if there was something about them that captured your eye?
No, I'd be, let's say I was a senior and a junior came up to me wanting something. No.
Not
if
even
they-
1 year difference?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
mean, right now I wouldn't date a sophomore. That's kind of ew.
Is it?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't date anybody younger than me.
What about if it's the inverse? Let's say you were 13, but you really liked this person.
I'm not a jackass. I wouldn't lie to a 17-year-old boy saying I was 16. That's disgusting. I never would have done that when I was 13.
No.
When I
All
was
right.
13, I was weird. I didn't like anybody.
Well, I mean, 13's a weird.
Yeah.
Kids are weird at 13. I mean, they're not much better at this age, but
Not really.
yeah.
I would never lie about that. That's disgusting. And Jesse was so weird. So weird.
What if you had a friend that did this? That
She
lied?
lied about her age?
Yeah.
We
So
need
let's
to
say,
stop being friends.
really? Would you stop being friends?
I probably wouldn't stop being friends with her, but I'd probably be like, this is not the smartest thing you could be doing.
So let's say that you guys went out to the city to do some shopping
Okay.
and she met a 20-year-old
Oof.
and then she lied and she said, "Oh, I'm 19."
Yikes.
What would you do?
You could get in serious trouble for that. That's not 17 and 13 anymore. That's really bad.
Right. I
I
believe
would-
that's statutory rape.
Yeah, that is, I would definitely tell her you should not be doing this, but I'm not very good at telling people. I'm not very good at telling girls that you're being stupid.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I just can't do it. If it was a guy who lied to, like, let's say a 20-year-old woman,
Mhm.
I'd be like, you're so freaking stupid. Like, what is wrong with you?
Mhm.
But for a girl, I'd probably be like, don't do this. Please don't do this.
Right.
Yeah. I would not stop being their friend. I don't know. Maybe in the case of 16 and 20, I would.
Yeah.
That's a bit different than.
What about if it was the inverse? Like, let's say you guys were hanging out and somebody was trying to hit on your friend, and then you find out in a roundabout way that he lied about his age.
I'd tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately.
Okay. All right. What about you? What do you think of this film?
This film was agony. Absolute agony
It
to
wasn't
sit
that
through
long.
It
and
was
watch.
really bad, actually. Like,
It-
you'd think for some. Sorry, you go.
Go ahead.
You'd think for something with such a provocative or problematic plot, it'd be more like I'm on the edge of my seat, like I can't look away from this train wreck. But this movie was so boring. It was genuinely awful to sit through. It was like, I want to say an hour and 37 minutes. It felt so much longer than
Did
that.
it really?
I think it was actually hour 35. It was horrible.
Really? You
Oh my God, it dragged on like crazy.
Really?
Yes.
Felt like I was watching a mini series that just never ended. It just dragged
did
on
feel
and
that long.
on, and there
It
was
felt really long.
there were so many parts where it was just like, all right, let's hear Rex Smith sing, and it's not like he was a good singer even.
Oh my
he
gosh,
was-
he had a whole career from this. What are you talking about?
God, it sure wasn't for his singing.
That song.
I'm sorry. Nobody that makes music now is like, who's your inspiration? Rex Smith. Nobody says that
How do you know?
because they don't.
You don't know.
Get out of here. Get
Come on,
outta
admit
here.
it. You've never heard anybody say, "Oh, I really look up to Rex Smith."
I haven't heard it, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. That's all I'm saying.
That means that you can't like yell at Dad or reprimand him for saying that it's never happened because you haven't heard it happen either.
So, a little bit of trivia. This is from the wiki page. Rex Smith's self-titled LP, released by Columbia Records, is basically a soundtrack album featuring the pop/rock songs he performed in the film. The album's first 4 tracks are the soundtrack songs from the film composed by Stephen Lawrence and Bruce Hart. Number 1, You Take My Breath Away. That was such a monster hit. 2, Sooner or Later. 3, Simply Jesse. And 4, Better Than It's Ever Been, which is that song that he sings at the beginning of the movie in the parking lot of the mall. Olive G, did you like any of the music in this?
Hell no.
No? Not even a little bit?
No.
No.
He should have quit making music a long time ago.
Yeah, go back to school.
Let's talk about the fashions. What did we think of Michael's hair?
I think I said it looked like his head was about to take flight.
You did say that. What made you say that?
Because he had these like robust wings of hair on either side of his head.
Yeah, his hair made his head look really small. He had like the facial structure of the medieval peasant.
But not the hair. He had robust hair.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it looked like
kind of off-putting.
it made his head so wide, it looked like he could have been hiding 2 other heads underneath his hair.
This could have been a horror film.
Yeah, he just like sweeps his hair on either side, and there's just 2 vestigial twins on either side of his head.
Like in Teen Titans Go, where Robin hides his twin under
Yep.
his mask.
Yep, just like that.
Mm.
The fashions otherwise, yeah, they were just typical 70s nonsense.
I mean, it wasn't egregious. I mean, you see other 70s films like Saturday Night Fever where the fashions are a little bit more crazy, especially when they're going out, right? I mean, when they're doing their everyday life, it's sort of standard fare, although the Travolta character definitely with like the wide collar shirts and the leather jacket and the tight pants and stuff. But here, I don't know, it didn't feel egregious. Like I feel like
It wasn't ridiculous.
Right.
Like sometimes when you see films from this era or films that are sort of set in this era or mocking this era, the clothing is
Are
just
exaggerated,
it's
right?
over the top, ridiculous. Like you said, with the wide collared shirts. I mean, sometimes they make those things just crazy, and it's like, oh, that's got to be made up. And it's like, no, they really wore that. Remember that one time we went to the Bronx or something? As your dad
see
was
my
in a hospital or something up there.
I knew you were going to talk about this.
And there was like a legit 100% straight up 70s pimp. Like he walked out of a time machine.
Yes. It
And
was crazy.
He had the big wide brim hat and the bell bottoms and the platform shoes
And that shirt.
and the ruffly shirt with super wide collar. And it was like some sort of like bright red or something like that, if I remember right.
I don't remember the color.
And you
but-
could tell that he's been wearing that suit for like 30 years because
But he kept it clean.
well, that was the thing. Like when I looked down at his giant platform shoes and his bell bottoms, you could see it was all like the hem of his pants
Frayed.
were all like holed and frayed.
Yeah, yeah,
But this guy was keeping it as good as he could. Like
yeah,
that was a museum piece.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, back to this. Yeah, there wasn't anything that egregious. Most of the time, Rex Splode or whatever his name is.
Rex Splode.
Terrible.
I was thinking that during the movie.
Yeah, he was just wearing a T-shirt, or there was that one time, like the first guitar lesson, he's for some reason wearing a shirt where it's like
It's halfway buttoned.
Yeah, it only has like 2 buttons at the bottom
his
or
whole
something.
chest was out.
Gee, don't boys dress like that?
Absolutely not.
No?
They've
You
switched
sure?
to sagging pants instead of chest, their butts are hanging out.
What about you? Did you dress like that?
What, in the 70s?
Yeah.
There was that, I told you that one time my mom, she sent me to a party and I was like 6 or 7 and was just like, here, just wear this vest. No shirt underneath. So I look like
Ajax from the Warriors.
yeah, exactly. It looked like I was in
Which
the Warriors.
we had seen earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So we had a theme going.
Yeah, the only thing missing was the words on the back of my vest and like a Molotov cocktail as a necklace.
All right. Well, I can see from the vibe at the table that.
This movie is a hard pass.
Oh my goodness, I can't
Do
believe
not
it.
waste your time with this.
Terrible.
It'll only be an hour and a half, but it'll feel like you just shaved like several hours off your life.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think you all are trying to be controversial.
I
here.
think the audience is safe because we actually had to look for this.
Yeah.
Like when I bought this for you, God, I can't believe you made me buy this.
I also made you buy Xanadu. Remember?
But the thing was, Xanadu, if I remember the DVD, it was actually like a presentation.
Yes.
This was just some sort of filthy little DVD.
Yeah. It was just in the box.
You'd find in like the 99-cent bin at the drugstore.
Yes, yes. All right. I guess there's not much to say here.
Besides the fact this movie sucks.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie. It's got a terrible message. At the end,
What is the message?
Lie to a man so that you can get groomed.
film should have ended when they were in the drive-in and she's like, I can't do this because I got a secret. I'm 13. And he just goes, bye. He literally is just like, bye. He drives her home and he's like, bye. And she's like, can't we talk to each other? And he's like, bye. And she just gets out of the car and she's all crushed and defeated. And then for some reason, he shows up back at the guitar school.
Wait, but you forgot in between all of that, there's just like a montage of her crying in bed with like her hair in her mouth.
Yeah.
And
I hate
shoving
that
that chocolate Entenmann's cake in
Oh,
her
right.
mouth
She eats an entire Entenmann's cake by herself.
while her parents are at a wedding
Yeah.
with her grandma.
And then she like meets him again and he's just like, okay, because I really love you. And he says the most creepy thing. He says, it's got to be at your pace. And she's like, so you'll do what I say and not do anything I don't want to do? And he goes, I'll try. I'll try. What? What the hell does that mean?
As a father of daughters, how did you really feel about this film?
Rex Smith belongs on like a sex offender registry. Like he wasn't at all interested in girls his age.
No,
It was
why
like
is
it
that?
was like it was
there
ingrained
that
in him or
beautiful
something.
Woman in his car after
And she
he,
kept
like,
throwing herself at
she
him.
came on to him and he's like not interested. That scene pissed me off so bad.
It's like, you got too many miles on you, baby. I like him young.
I mean, it's terrible.
And that's supposed to
It's
and that's
terrible.
supposed to be the height of romance. It's like,
So why were we in the 70s? Why was this okay?
because the writers were all on LSD.
Did we really not know any better?
No, not the people who were writing this stuff.
Well, us as an audience. I mean, I just read you a couple of
They were like
reviews on the
programming
IMDb
people.
page.
They were programming people to like think that. Oh yeah, that's fun. I mean, look, remember that James Cagney movie?
Oh my god!
How my mom defends that thing all the time.
Oh gosh, let's not talk about it. That's even I find that film
Yeah.
disturbing. But
So,
but
come on.
I just
different
read,
era, different people.
I guess, but I just read a bunch of reviews and all of them seemed favorable. One person even gave it a 9 out of 10.
Good Lord, that person probably has never seen another movie in their life. If they're putting that at 9 out of 10, they have never seen another film in their life, because that's like right up there with Citizen Kane or Paddington 2.
Is it because you think it's okay? Because I feel like this sort of falls, I mean, not to veer off on a tangent, but this sort of falls in that same rosy colored lens that I would watch Overboard with. Like in retrospect, now it's like, yeah, that's icky. But having watched it 10,000 times, I'm like, oh, this is delightful.
Well, I think, in all honesty, they present this as sort of like, oh, it's like a fairy tale, and at the end of it all, he isn't going to push the limits or go beyond anything. He will respect her wishes. He's gallant and he's kind, and they're gonna get together, and eventually they'll get married and they'll live happily ever after. But we're living in a world where we have seen too many news stories about stuff like this, where it's just 13, 12-year-old, whatever. Oh, I met him online and he seemed really cool. And then you don't hear about it for 10 years because I was locked in a basement for 10 years.
Oh, God.
We've seen that story way too many times to go back to an era where sooner or later and the love affair between Michael and Jesse, the Michael and Jesse's of the world, they don't work out. We've seen too much.
Fair. I guess that's fair. That's fair.
Back then, you're not that far away from fairy tales and happily ever after. Since then, it's just, scuzzy people and divorce and kidnapping and, way different world.
So again, this is from 1979, but even as a 1979, I mean, as a parent, I mean, I feel like if my parents maybe understood the language better, they probably would not have allowed me to see this, because my dad was adamant about me not watching Miami Vice, which is like tame in comparison to this film.
Not really. For the time, Miami Vice they were showing like drug use and rape and murder. So Miami Vice was definitely a lot worse than this. This was incredibly boring. Nothing really happened through most of this film. It's like, we're sort of, I guess, finding each other attractive over time. And it just took way too long. It really did feel like an ordeal. I can't believe it was only an hour and a half long. It really felt so much longer than that.
Really? It kind of flew by for me. I mean,
you have, like you said, you're looking at this whole thing through like rose-colored glasses and nostalgia, and you actually like this thing.
Yeah. Although I can, as a parent, I do find this disturbing. As a parent in 2025, I do find this disturbing. But 1979 me was happy with this and was just enamored of Michael Skye as well.
Yeah, I could see that through modern eyes. It is a bit disturbing. I mean, it would have been even more disturbing if Michael Skye was like 13. All right, no big deal for me. That would have been really gross. Although at the end of the movie, that's basically what happened. Honestly, the film should have just ended when he said bye and kicked her out of the car.
This film was actually based on a book series that the Harts wrote back in the day. And I believe, I have not picked them up since Lincoln was a boy, but I believe he does become like a rock star and they do get married, but then they have marital conflict. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So this was like a book series. I think there might have been 3 or 4 books in the series. And I guess this is like their origin story.
And somehow this film didn't inspire like a legion of sequels? How is that possible?
Go figure. Gee, you and I saw Miller's Girl.
Unfortunately.
Did this bother you as much as that film?
Probably not. I mean, because Miller's Girl is a fully grown man. And also he was her teacher, which not only is the age difference weird, but the
power dynamics. Right?
Exactly. The power dynamic in the relationship is disgusting.
But also, she sort of dictates that relationship. I mean, she's not a minor because she's in college, was she? Or no, she was going to college.
She was like a senior. She's like a senior. She might have been 18, but that doesn't change the fact that she was a student and he was a teacher. And even if she was, quote unquote, dictating, he should have immediately been like, that's enough. Because wasn't he into it?
I believe so.
When did we watch that film? That was like forever ago. I don't remember.
It was like 2 years ago, maybe?
A year.
It came out like 2023.
Maybe. I don't remember much of it, but I'm pretty sure, there was a point in the film where he's getting kind of into it.
Oh, no, it came out last year.
Wow.
Yeah. It feels like it was 2 years ago.
It feels way longer than that, yeah.
Okay, so you say that one's worse because of the power struggle and the power dynamics, right?
Yes.
Okay. Olive G. Jessie lies about being in a Catholic school. Why do you think she did that? Any idea?
To prove to him that she's in high school.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know why else.
What did we think of that scene where he's watching the girls come out of the school and he looks like a cartoon wolf?
I was genuinely disturbed by that scene. Just the way he was eyeing them made me severely uncomfortable.
And then he makes a comment about he'd like to see her in her uniform.
Yeah. No, because that genuinely made me really I did not like that scene. That was like giving off sex offender vibes.
Does anybody want to add anything else before we wrap it up and get numbers? No? All right, Olive G, 1 to 10.
0.
Wow. Is this the first time we've had a 0? Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
We definitely had like 0.9.
This might be the first 0. Congrats.
I just
You don't want to save the 0 for a worse movie? This one was bad, but it wasn't like the worst thing we've ever
find
seen.
then one.
A 1? All right.
This was genuinely hard to watch, and I don't want to see this movie ever again.
Okay, you never have to. We'll put the DVD in the donation box for the next pickup.
Or we could burn it.
Well, let's
It would
let
be
somebody
better
else
to
enjoy
burn
it.
it.
Let's let somebody
No
else
one
enjoy
else is going to enjoy
it.
this.
You don't know that.
You got to pass it on like that videotape from the ring.
From the ring?
Yeah.
Gee, 1 to 10, what would you give?
3.
3. What about you?
I would give this a 2.
Wow.
This is an awful movie.
No redeeming qualities?
No. Well, the only good scene is when she says, I'm 13, and he's just like, bye.
Oh, he immediately starts driving off that. That's
Yes.
the best scene.
Yeah, that's the only scene that made sense in the entire goddamn movie.
As a parent, what did you think of her parents?
It just seems so quaint and antiquated, especially Batgirl there. She's just dreading talking to her daughter about sex. And I love how in the beginning of the movie, they're learning about it by watching the Honey Nut Cheerio bee talking about seeds or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
what was going on? Was that really what they showed
I mean,
people?
I could swear I saw something silly like that at school too. I didn't have the Honey Nut Bee though.
The Honey Nut Cheerios bee was teaching people about sex.
I mean,
You
it was
saw
a
the beginning
variation
of
of
the movie.
it.
It was like he was flying, and then for some reason he's talking about that was a sex education class that
Yeah.
they were learning about.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were learning about bees or something.
No, it was supposed to be about sex, and then the teacher catches her reading the novel,
Yeah.
the romance
Lynn
novel.
Redgrave.
Redgrave.
What the hell is she doing?
She need an addition on her
Yeah.
house, obviously.
To make that car payment.
She's British. You know how those
that's
British
true.
are.
Yeah, there you go.
They'll do anything.
No explanation.
There
further.
you go.
So yeah, the parents just seem pretty like antiquated. Like
It's so weird because they seemed very hands off. No?
kind of, yeah.
I mean, she wasn't working. I don't know what Alex Rieger was doing for a job, but her mom
Yeah.
was home and grandma was home, and grandma kind of had his like heart to heart.
Grandma's just like, go for it.
Yeah. Back in the village.
Yeah, back in the village, I was 13, and then Sven or whatever the hell the dude's name was.
David.
Yeah. Ooh, everybody
Yes.
wanted David, but he only had eyes for me. And
Yeah.
then
And the Nazis
killed
came.
him.
God.
Real
Love
pick me up of a
right
story.
there.
Yeah. So I have to admit, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. And I can see that it's problematic now. But the young girl in me enjoyed this. And there isn't.
Yeah, well, the older woman shouldn't.
Well, no,
Especially the one with children.
as a mom, yes, I agree. As a mom, I feel like this is very weird, and this is like the worst case scenario as a parent. So I wouldn't want this to ever visit me in real life. So that part, obviously, I found very disturbing. However, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So I'm going to give this a 5. I don't think this is streaming anywhere. I think you'd have to.
You can watch it on YouTube, can't you?
I'm sure there's a print of it on YouTube, actually, now that we think about it. But yeah, according to IMDb, this is only to buy rent on Amazon. So if you're curious, if you remember this TV movie from back in the day when there wasn't other programming, I think after the soap operas, you had like the 4:00 movie. This might have been that. I'm glad that we could watch it, and we kind of talked over most of it. So I had a fun time watching it with everyone here. So at least there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you need to revisit this because it is kind of a weird film.
Yeah, definitely avoid this film.
I guess I wouldn't recommend it. I guess just for me, it was nice for me to go down memory lane this one time. But I guess we'll be putting the DVD in the Goodwill box for the next pickup.
All right.
All right, and with that, we will bid you all
Good night.
Good night.
good night.